Hello everyone, I'm Rizwan and I'm here to present my paper titled Transforming Medical Resource Utilization Process to Verifiable Timed Automata Models in Cyberphysical System, which is part of Distributed Computing track at 18th International Conference of Distributed Computing and Intelligent Technology. My co-author is Professor Nina Gobias. We both are from a Department of Computer Science and Information System at BITS Pilani Goa campus. So, as this topic suggests, uh, this this paper is about how we can build a solution for a safety critical system such as a healthcare, where um, we can utilize the medical resources. As nowadays we can see that especially as the safety critical system that can be healthcare or military or anything. But why this resource allocation problem we have chose? Because as we have seen the recent times, even in the corona, even the small resources in the healthcare has a very important impact if it is not available on time. So this problem is derived on the given situations where we have to make sure that how we can make those critical resources available at the given time and how we can utilize those medical resources, how we can make a process which help us to utilize those safety critical resources. So this, as you know, is if we talk about the cyber physical system, which is not a single system, which is like a collection of various components, various systems which are integrated, work maybe in a distributed way, have some dynamic properties. So the major challenge here is to build a solution or to have a process which can orderly execute that individual task which is part of those individual component running in the system, as well as for the overall system. So it's not just about how the individual component work, but it also about how all those components work in an integrated way. So that's what composes cytophysical system. So to demonstrate the approach of how we can utilize this medical resources, we used uh, a clinical setup. We use a clinical process just to demonstrate as an example. And this is where we build a model which can help us to organize the resources in orderly execution, in orderly manner. So the whole problem is derived around how we can allocate and deallocate the critical medical resources to the patients. So in this problem, what we really look at is the some preconditions and post condition validation. What it means is that what are some critical conditions which must have to be satisfied in order to execute a particular task. Similarly, what kind of outcome we are expecting from the single execution. So this we have to validate through the model. Next important part is called behavior modeling, which means that how the model will behave if we change the certain parameters. For example, if we have n number of patient requests and we have m number of limited resources, and if we increase or decrease the number, will it create any kind of negative impact on the model? Will it allow the model to misbehave than its original properties? So these are the kind of model we check, kind of behavior we check through this model. And another important thing which is called a dependent processes. So this dependent processes here we look at if there is any kind of a condition, any dependent process which must has to be executed or take some kind of an input from the the predecessors. So uh, all this part we look through the model by using some detailed analysis. So let me just go ahead and explain what exactly the problem we are trying to solve here. So as also presented by various existing literature, and some of them I have uh, put it here for the example. And all of this literature, all of this survey paper, they explain clearly that we really need a kind of a method where certain strict assumptions, for example, the type of patient visit in a clinical setup, or the kind of a treatment taken by the patient. So every treatment has a timing. So if you go for X-ray machines, or if you go for an individual MRI machine, or if you take anything, so every treatment has a specific time, and how we can handle the resources around that treatment time, that is another a valid research direction to explore. Also, the arrival time, which is mostly non-deterministic, we can't say how many patients will arrive at the hospital in what order and what kind of services they will take. So this still is cannot be determined correctly, cannot be predicted accurately. And with those kind of situations, how we can still have a model in which take care of all those assumptions, all those stricter constraints, and still give the optimum solutions. So another is kind of a resource availability, and we for the demonstration purpose we named the resource as a very generic term called caregiver, and we assume that there can be any healthcare worker, that can be a physician or a nurse or anything. So we just want to uh, put it in a very abstract way. So we gave the name as a caregiver that can also further model as an individual machine or medical instrument. So that I'm going to explain in the coming slides. So this is mostly abstract representations of the overall process with certain properties which must be executed, and the system or the model what we are presenting should still behave under different kind of evaluation. So we try to address this problem through our model. um, so the whole objective of building such model or using or utilizing the existing model-based approaches, which is, as you know, may not be new, but this here has not been well utilized in the medical field, in the healthcare domain. So first of our objective through this model is to utilize the treatment time of the patient. So as I said in the previous slide, that every patient has a different treatment time, and even given those different treatment times, so still we have to assign a set of resources and have to utilize them in a well organized manner. So the algorithm which works on how we can organize and automating those patient requests being assigned and transported to a particular station. So we named that facility as called diagnostic center, just for the representational purpose and to show in the model as a state that the patient is requested for the service, assigned a particular resource or caregiver, and then given and then reached to a treatment facility for completing his or her treatment. So, so I'm going to explain exactly the scenario of the medical scenario what we have modeled in this paper. So how are we going to do and what are we going to assure through this model is we implement a process which assures there is a less delay in the allocation of the resource. So what I really mean here is if a patient request arises, that it is expected that within a less time duration or less delay, they should be assigned if the resource is available. And if the resource is not available, the request cannot be missed. So we need to have some kind of queue mechanism which stores the request and execute in one after another in a sequential manner. So that way we assure there is a fair allocation of all the patient requests, as well as there is fair allocation in the caregiver in the resource. It means it should be like that one caregiver is kept on assigning to all the patients and other caregiver are sitting idle. So overutilization or underutilized resources should not be allowed. So the model is designed such a way that it makes sure that all the caregivers are utilized in a rotation manner. So it's not like there are three caregivers or then only one is getting assigned again to all the patients. So in this way we make sure that caregiver one, caregiver two, caregiver three, or whatever number of caregiver do we have, all of them are utilized fairly. And next, as I have also said at this point, we are using the concept of queues. We are implementing the queues in the model. So there are two queues we are using, two places we are using the queue. One, when the patient is requesting for a service, and second, when the patient has already reached to a diagnostic center and completing his treatment, but it also be again go back to his original state, which is, let's say, going back to the ward, or after finishing the treatment, go back to the initial state. So for that, we have another queue which is maintained there. So once all the as soon as the patient completes his treatment, and then they will put up in a queue, and then they will be picked up by the caregiver later. So I'm going to explain this to in a time automata model, and for this to build this solution, we are using a tool called Upal, and we are using an approach called timed automata. So the time automata, something which is utilized by the Upal. So it's simple automata, but it has notion of timing. And what are exactly we are modeling here is the process, which has two components: one which is a patient component, and another which is a caregiver component. And this is continuously the patient requests are arriving, and the continuously the resources are allocated and deallocated in order to manage. So why we chose Upal? Because it's been already used in other safety critical environment. And the another reason in the healthcare is that still the testing of an instrument is an expensive affair. So if we have a method which can actually uh, help us to reduce the cost of testing. I'm not saying the medical level, but at least at the healthcare. Yes, so this can be one of the suitable approach which help us to at least build a model at the beginning of the software development life cycle, and help us to avoid various errors which can cascade due to some minor errors in the design. So we using Upala, we found it very, very helpful for that. And what this model checker does, or any model checker for time. So first we need a model that can characterize as a straight transition behavior uh, of a finite concurrent system. And so we have that finite concurrent system where we have a number of patients and a number of caregivers. And all this process is modeled as a state and transition. So we say that the process of the patient has individual state, and the process of the caregiver has a state, and then they communicate through some synchronized channel. So if I say a patient is sending a request, it is received at the caregiver object, the caregiver automata, and upon receiving it, act upon something. So that's where we check their pre and post conditions. And the next thing is how we can verify that it's this behaving correctly. So we can, as for the simulation purpose, we can look at the properties by simulating the small numbers, but we have to also assure that model always work correctly. So we use a temporal logic here, and Upal supports something called time constraint computational tree logic, TCTL language, where we formulate the specific property and check it to the model and make sure that it works as expected. So this is the overall problem, and I'm going to represent through a block diagram here first. So assume that we have, so this individual, so these are the two component I said in the uh, earlier slide. One is the patient component and another is the caregiver component. And so first thing is the patient request arrives and received at the caregiver. As I said, the Upal uses the notion of synchronized channel, send and receive. So I'm going to show that on the next slide. So this request is received by a caregiver. Upon receiving, if the caregiver is free, the patient will assign. So that's where the one-to-one mapping does happen. So what happens in one-to-one mapping is that that one patient should not be assigned to the same patient should not be assigned to different caregivers, first of all. Also, the one patient should not be assigned to two caregivers, or the two patient cannot be assigned to one caregiver. So one-to-one mapping makes sure that there is always a one patient for the one caregiver, and that we uh, assure through the programming what supported by this model checker Uber. So we use a notion of IDs where each of the patient is assigned a certain IDs, each of the caregiver will be assigned a certain ID. So when we create multiple object of patient and caregiver, they are recognized by their individual ID. And when we say assigned patient in this function, I map the IDs, we map the IDs of patient and the caregiver. So that way it assures that once this particular number of caregiver patient, like 1, 2, 3, will be associated with that particular caregiver, so that no other caregiver can pick up that patient, or the patient cannot again request for the another caregiver. So that way we assure that there is no, the consistency is maintained and there is no conflict in the assignment. So once the this request is assigned, then there's a state which says that the patient is reached to a diagnostic center, but that diagnostic center is something which represents the treatment of the patient. So here we use the notion of the clocks, where each of the patient has an individual treatment time. So suppose the patient has treatment time of 50 time minutes or 100 time minutes, or 60 or any number. So there is something called a cutoff time. We kept it to assure the patient whose treatment time is more than the cutoff time, that the patient is likely to go under the long treatment procedure. So in a real life, we can relate this to the patient which comes for just the consultation, and the patients who come for the operations, and they stay in the ward for the n number of days and regularly required to use some medical facilities such as the caregiver. So in that case, the patients whose time is lesser than the given threshold time, then the patient will finish their treatment and then return back to the original state. If not, then the patient goes under the treatment, which is likely more than the threshold time. And those are the only patients who go under the wait state. So they go in the wait state, which means that they're going under the treatment. And once they complete their treatment, as I said, there's a queue which makes sure that all the patients wait there, so that they will also be picked up as soon as they complete. So patients, let's say patient number 5 completed the treatment before patient number 3, so the patient number 5 will be picked up before the patient number 3 by the caregiver. So this is the state, so where the caregiver, if the, and as I said, there are n number of caregivers are there, which means that if caregiver number 1 drop the patient number 1, but he says that patient is going to take more time, so he releases the patient and then go back to his original state, so that it can be available for the another patient to pick up. Because there's no point of the caregiver waiting at the diagnostic center when the patient is already undergoing through a treatment. And we also have to utilize the resource available time here. So that's why this will be released and the patient go in the treatment, and at the same time that caregiver will pick up the another patient. So when this caregiver comes back to the diagnostic center, before going back to its original state, it will check if there is any existing patients to be picked up from the queue, which is there at the diagnostic center. If it is, then that caregiver pick up that previous patient and then take that patient back to the original state. If not, then the caregiver will return empty. So there are three cases are maintained in this case. So first case is the treatment time is lesser than the threshold, then the caregiver take the same patient with whom he or she came. Second case is when the treatment time is more, which means that the case which I just explained, the treatment time is more than there is no point of caregiver waste there. So the caregiver is ready to go. So before the caregiver ready to go to original state, it will check if there's a previous patient. If there is previous patient, the caregiver go back to the original state, which is with the patient. If it is not, if it is false, then the caregiver returns empty. So that is the pretty much the entire process what we have modeled through the time here. So this, as you can see here, let me just increase the size of this one. So you can see there we have n number of patients, and here the number is 30 patients from 0 to 29. Similarly, we have 0 to 10, I mean 0 to 9, so we have 10 number of caregivers. So in this experiment, keep changing this number. Sometimes we keep the patient as 50 and then caregiver as 5, and see how much time a caregiver takes to take the patient back, and how much time the patient wait in the DC if the less number of caregivers are there. Similarly, we increase the number of caregiver and try to see what happens when uh, the number is increased, how much time the patient waits here. But for the simplistic scenario, what we have explained in this paper is that we have this state, and so The patient automata has this five state here. And the first is nothing but the idle state where the process is initiated, and as soon as the patient this transition is triggered, which means that the patient will be included here. As I said, we want to make a fair allocation, so this will be included here. And if that if any one of the caregiver is available that time, that particular patient will be assigned, and then the patient goes next state called request service, which is the patient is now given. So this is where this is the synchronized channel here. And so the second stage of the caregiver will be the assigned here. The caregiver will be assigned, and once the patient reaches to, so after this stage, the next stage is just to introduce some kind of a delay so that we can monitor the transportation time also. So this is just for the representational purpose here again. So here in this phase, as we can see, this says that patient is taken with the caregiver. I mean, is taken care of. The request is handled, and now the patient is obviously, when it is taken, then it has to be in queue from the previous queue. So this will be dequeued here, and then this state, which is called reach DC, as the name given here, is just to show that the patient has reached to the diagnostic center. And the corresponding state of the caregiver is the release patient. So what happens in this state, as you can see, this is a branching here, and which has two conditions. If the delay is nothing but the treatment time of the patient is less than the cutoff time, which is threshold, then this directly returns to the beginning state, which means it's completed this treatment and go back to the start state. And the corresponding state of the caregiver automata will be at DC, and then it goes back to the patient and it will go back to the available state. But in case if treatment time is more than the given threshold, then we enqueue here this one. It will keep waiting till the completing the treatment. At the same time, the corresponding state of caregiver will be here at DC, and then the patient remain in wait in a DC state, but the caregiver state will be checked DC, which means it will see if there is any existing patient waiting. So what happens? Let's take a scenario where this patient was already waiting previously. So if this patient was already waiting and there is no other caregiver is picking up, so then here in this case, it will pick up this previous patient and then go back to the original state. But in another case, if there is no previous patient and it checks there is no one, the treatment time of the patients who are waiting is not completed, then it returns empty. So this stage is taken when there is a previous patient and then go back. Now, for the purpose of safety, we have designed one more state here, which is called go to collect patients. And that is just for the scenario where there is no new request and there are patients who are waiting at the DC. Then we want the caregiver to pick up the patients from that queue. So in this case, what happens is that it will check this condition that there is no new request and there are patients at the waiting. So the caregiver, if available, will go to this state, take the patient, and then return back to the original state. So this is pretty much the caregiver and the patient automata here. And as you can see, this number, these are the multiple objects of single patient. So that just represent that we have n number of requests, n number. So it's just like how we run a Java thread. All right. So here we can look at what is the state of each of these patients, what will be the timing, and what is the clock constraints of all these patients and the caregiver. So basically, these form something called as network of timed automata, as these all of this automata are communicating through the synchronized channel, which is like a send and receive, as I said. So let me go back to the next state. So this was all about the simulation part of this model where we simulate, we check the different numbers, and we can enforce some of the transitions by selecting the query here. We can click on the random and then the simulation automatically runs. And this here, there's something called this verifier window here, which I'm going to show you in the next slide. So here Few of the condition, as I said, we have to violate, we have to check here. First is there is no safety violation, which means that all the condition, the certain condition which must be true every time that particular event occurs. So, for example, if the patients are taken to the diagnostic center, then we are expecting that eventually it returns. So if the patient is waiting here, we expect that it returns to its original state. It's not like the patient will waiting here forever and not be picked up again. Similarly, that we expect that none of the automata stuck at the particular state. So to assure that thing, we form certain properties in the form of TCTL, and this is here. So here says that for all the patients who are waiting in a DC, they eventually return to the start. So this is called leads to the property. And another example, we can see the patients, all the patients who are in the state of wait in a DC. So that's the state wait in a DC here. And all the patients who are in the wait in a DC, which means their treatment time is definitely more than the threshold time. So this we check for all the state for all the path, and this condition always should always hold true. Next part of the OPAL is some kind of a probabilistic uh, assurance. So, for example, here in this is the query which is formed to make sure that if we introduce some notion of probability. So, the above query which says that less than equals to 20. So, this is the time unit. This is the 20 discrete transition for all the caregivers. If there is a patient, previous patient, if there is a patient waiting in the queue, then the caregiver will take the patient back. That is a state which says that the caregiver is going to pick up the patient, and that probability is more than 98%. And this also holds true for all the caregivers. So that also again assures that the patient does not wait forever in the waiting state and eventually will be picked up. These are some of the results to try to explain here. So we plotted the results of the queue, and the first graph here shows the run for the 50 time unit, and the second is for the 100 time unit for 4 and number of 3 patients. This is plotted for the small number of patients and the caregiver, because if just to observe how it will look like, whether the queues are getting empty or not. So as you can see, the graph at the beginning was starts from the zero. So this purple color represent here the request queue, and this color, the one with the filled color, that represent the waiting queue. So this is, you can see the beginning, there is no waiting queue, which is zero, which means there is no one at the diagnostic center and all the patients are requesting for the service. So there are 3, and then they reach up to the maximum 4 patients, all of them have requested. And as soon as the patient requests are handled, that queue is getting DQ, I mean, and then it's coming to, let's say, the 3 and then 2 and then eventually 0, which means that there is no new patient for the request. Similarly, again, there are new patients are there. So this part represent that the treatment time was lesser than the given threshold and no one goes in the waiting state. But here, this dark purple color, that represent that at T12, at the time 12, there was one patient whose treatment time was more than the threshold, and then it went to the waiting state. But then eventually the treatment time was over, and then it came back to the original state. So that's why the Q become 0 here. So this the same thing we try to plot it for the 100 time transition, and we see the same results here. So maximum number of the, it reaches to the maximum number of patient, and then it keep getting decreasing, which assures that the request, all the requests are handled uh, over the period of time. So it's not like the patient request and kept on waiting in the request queue and not getting the treatment. Similarly, the patients who going under the treatment are completing their treatment and returning back to the original state. So they are getting 0 represent the situation where the treatment is complete and then going back to the original state. And this here, the small box you can see that shows the time with a particular patient spent in the waiting queue or the request queue. So one more, this window, this is, as I said, this is for the very small number 4 and 3, but here this window is for the larger number. So now the number of patients are 40, number of caregivers are 10, and then we are again plotting those request queue and waiting queue. So here this green color represents the queue which is there at the the request queue, and the red color represent the waiting queue here. So as you can see in the beginning, the red color, it starts with 0, which means the red color is the queue, which is the waiting queue at the director sector, is keep getting increasing as the request queues keep getting decreasing, which means that there is a patient who requested for the treatment and their treatment may be more than the given threshold time. So that's why they are going in a waiting queue. And there is some point at 14, you can see that the number of request queue and the number of patient the request queue and number of the patient the waiting queue are almost equal. But if you can also observe few more things here, that the maximum number of the patients who are in what you call in the waiting queue outside at max reaches up to 30, and the same time the maximum number of the patients who are waiting around ranges from 24 to 90. So if we do not have this continuous system, and if we put certain conditions that only 5 patients and then the treatment is done, we can do this through setting up some variables. And once all of the patients are finished and then this ends, then this eventually all this queues goes to the 0, which assures that all the requests are handled fairly. So this is the verification window. This is how it look like. So the green color represents the property is satisfied, and here below we can see the status of the property which are satisfied. So this is the same property what I have explained in the previous slide, and this is just shows how much time and the memory it has taken to execute the query. So, and there are few more queries here, which is just to give an idea how many patients wait in the waiting queue for 100 time unit. And if we do the sum for all the patients who are waiting in the waiting queue for 100 time unit, those will be approximately 1 to 2. Similarly, also see some more property things like the patients are taken, I mean, the request is accepted within the 100 time units. So these are some of the queries, and there are more queries which are there which verified the model works exactly. So to conclude this, we demonstrate the safety assured design of that clinical process, what the scenario what we have designed here, where we represent the resource as a caregiver, a medical staff allocated to patients. And this approach, as you can see, it's a abstract approach which is reasonably applicable and adaptable to design the similar system where we have to assign the resources in orderly manner. So this is allocation model by looking at some real life scenario and clinical setup, and this is verified for various safety checks to avoid clashes in the assignment. And also design part includes the formal model construction and model level verification. So in future, what we try to do is we try to have some more resources uh, which can interoperate with this existing automata, and we can have, rather than having two components, we have more multiple components where they synchronize through this message communications, and then we'll try to incorporate uh, those resources with this existing system and see how the model still behave and try to handle some emergency cases as well. Thank you so much. That's all about my presentation.